What's up, everybody? There's been something on my mind for several years, and it just makes me feel better to speak about it, to share how I'm feeling. And it's something that's more sensitive, and it's a sensitive subject for all of us. And it has to do with all the cruelty in the world, anything that takes us out of the innocence, like when you're a child and you have that feeling of innocence where you're free, your soul, your spirit, it's free, and you don't have any baggage. You don't think of the world as a terrible place. A lot of us, when we grow up, we see all these bad things happening around us, all the crazy, uh, cruel and destructive activities that take place, all the crime, just the worst things that you could possibly imagine. And you have to understand that these destructive things have always been around, even when you were a child and you lived within an innocent mindset. These things were still taking place, but you weren't focusing on them. Your mind was freed from them. And I'm here to tell you that, regardless of all of the harsh aspects of life that you are witnessing, when you look at the news, you can see like all these bad things happening, murders, um, people getting raped. Like it's not a joke. Like there are very bad things that happen, and you don't have to focus on it. Maybe you even did something yourself and you just feel bad about it. You feel this sense of um, having a hard time being able to forgive yourself. And it might not even be as bad as what you think. It's just that you have a hard time forgiving yourself. And I've mentioned that that's something that I struggle with personally. And the name for my channel, it's Tranquil Expedition. It's all about um, this journey of freeing my mind. I just want my soul to be free. I want to be liberated and have innocence. Like when you're born, when you're a child, you feel like anything's possible, and you are just freed from all the fear, all of the heaviness, and that's how we should be living. And it's just been with so many people talking about really bad things that go on in the world, and I'm not afraid to dive into these topics. There's just a lot of just some the worst things that you could possibly imagine. It's like a nightmare, and these things happen, and I just need to talk about it because it's something that bothers me. I don't want to live um, just viewing this reality as a nightmare. Like we're all like, it's like we're living in hell. It's like our souls are trapped in a prison, in a hell, and it's like we can't ascend out of it. We can't get to a place that is better for us, that it's our higher self. And this is something that's really important to me, to reach that feeling, to reach that level. And I know that a lot of us want to get there. And there are specific ways in which we can release this fear of these heavy emotions that are holding us back. And that's why I'm up here sharing, and I want to get into more specifics. But, just remember, um, bad things happen all the time, and, we live in a dualistic nature where there's good and bad. Um, there's evil and there's innocence. And you can always re-find that innocence. If you lost it for a period of time, you can always gain it back. If you were held back by fear or shame, any lower emotions that's pushing you down to a terrible place, you never have to stay there. You're never permanently there. I think of Earth as like this purgatory. It's like we're not in the world we live in. It's not a complete utopia. And this is a beautiful planet where there's so much abundance and so much wildlife. And we really came here. We didn't come here just to experience that utopia. It's we experience like the deadly sins and kind of the shadow parts of us are are being exposed, and we have to deal with that. And we also have to realize that we don't have to stay there. We don't have to stay trapped down, because we don't want to be, permanently in a place of like a prison. We don't have to be there. We're not meant to do that. And it helps for me to share about this and talk about it, because, the dark aspects of humanity and the planet are not meant to be ignored. They're meant to be recognized, but at the same time, they're not meant to just be the sole reality. You think about children, young kids. There's a reason why a lot of the graphic content on the internet it's not exposed to them. Like we do a good job of blocking that out, but when we grow up, we start to see the world a little in a more harsh way a lot of the time. But I can't stress enough how important it is to discover that childlike innocence, and regardless of how old you become, that's always a part of you and never leaves. But I'll be discussing more specific topics about how we can eliminate this fear, because everything I talk about is about evolution. Evolution's about ascending to the highest places, and it's something that I'm very sensitive about. And like I said, this has been on my mind for several years. So to reiterate what my major point, always recognize the darker aspects of the world that we live in, the shadow parts of us. And I think that this year, especially in 2020, a lot of the darker aspects are being exposed. That's why you're seeing a lot of craziness go down. And I believe that there's light at the end of the tunnel. I believe that there's innocence to be found on the other side of all this craziness. So never get discouraged. Never feel like you're permanently trapped in a prison or a hell, because you're not. That's the dark doing work on you, trying to trick you and deceive you. That's the devil. That's what I believe that the devil is. And the true God, the true light, the pure innocence, that's what the true God is. It's finding that innocence to release that fear, things that are holding you down. And you use your mind to get out of it. It's all you. You do specific things to get you out of it. And there's a science behind it. It's not as complicated as you think. And we can all do this. We're all strong. We all could have gone through the worst possible nightmares ever imagined. We can always get out of it. So those are my words of inspiration for the day. I'll be getting back to you all very soon. Peace out, everybody.